I was looking forward to this trip, just me and my dog Sam for a whole week at a cabin on Lake George. I felt lucky this place was available on short notice. After nearly having a breakdown from work stress, I was desperate for some peace and quiet, and as I pulled up to the secluded cabin, it looked like that's what I would get. Or so I thought. I looked around and opened all the cupboards and closets before starting to unpack. The town was 20 minutes away by car, so I was glad I brought up plenty of food. Sam examined the house and claimed his spot on the couch. It was 8 p.m. and getting dark outside. I was wiped out from the long drive, so I went straight to bed. I was startled awake by Sam's barking. The alarm clock said 5:59 a.m. I got out of bed and saw that Sam was barking at the front door. It was a wild, incessant barking. Pretty unusual for him. I looked out the window. It was still dark because of the dense tree canopy, but there was a bit of sun peeking through. I didn't see anything or anyone, so I figured Sam was just getting used to an unfamiliar place. He stopped barking a minute later and went back to his spot on the couch. I made some coffee, grabbed my book, and joined him. We spent most of the day there. The next morning, the loud barking woke me up again. 5:59 a.m. I put on my robe, grabbed a flashlight I saw in the closet, and went outside to find out what Sam might be barking at. I didn't see anything unusual at first, but then I heard a splash and noticed these big ripples on the lake. I know from fishing with my dad that sunrise is when fish are most active. I looked away for a second, and when I looked back, the ripples were completely gone. I was still pretty sleep deprived, so maybe I imagined it. Still wasn't sure what Sam was barking at, but thankfully, he stopped. Since I was already up, I decided to go for a swim. The water was chilly, maybe in the high 60s, but not too uncomfortable. I called for Sam to get in the water with me, but he just planted himself at the shore and wouldn't budge. There was a diving platform about 100 feet away that I decided to swim to. As I approached it, I saw ripples in the water ahead of me, a lot more ripples than before, and much bigger than any lake trout could make. It almost looked like a whirlpool. I could hear Sam barking in the distance, and that's when the water temperature suddenly plummeted. It was freezing, and I could feel my legs getting heavy as I was treading water. It was like someone or something was pulling me down. Even over my splashing, I could hear Sam's barking getting louder and louder until he was right next to me. I grabbed onto his neck, and he used all his might to drag me away. As we moved back toward the shore, the water was instantly warmer, and whatever it was I felt pulling me down was gone. We got out of the water and ran inside to warm up. I had no idea what had just happened. Sam and I spent the rest of the day curled up on the couch again. Only this time, we were both on edge. Me still literally shaking when I thought about that cold spot in the lake. Eventually, I went to sleep with Sam faithfully standing guard. 5:59 a.m. Sam was back at it, barking his head off, staring at the front door. I sprang from the bed and ran outside to the edge of the lake. There it was in the distance, a large ring of ripples radiating outward from that same spot in the lake. Part of me wanted to be brave and jump in to see what it was, but there was no way Sam was going to let me go. A minute later, the ripples disappeared, and the dog stopped freaking out. As we were heading back inside, I spotted a canoe near the cabin, and it gave me an idea. Thanks to my dad, I was pretty good with a fishing rod, so I decided to go into town, buy some fishing gear, and see what I can catch in that spot tomorrow morning. I arrived at the bait and tackle shop just as they were opening. After grabbing a rod and reel and some fishing line, I went to the counter to ask for live bait and the obligatory fishing license. When filling out the license form, the man at the counter asked for the address of the cabin, and when I told him, he stopped typing and looked up. He said he hoped I wasn't planning to fish right outside the cabin. There were lots of other good spots on the lake not too far away. I asked him if there was any specific reason not to fish by the cabin. That's when he told me that early one morning, about 8 years ago, a guy hit his head on the diving platform and drowned out there. Ever since, people have said there's something weird in that part of the lake. And word got around, so people who want to go swimming or fishing avoid renting that cabin. I told the man what happened to me in the lake, and he didn't appear at all surprised. He just said he was glad I was safe and suggested I put that fishing gear back and forget about going out there. Yes, even in a boat. To this day, I'm still not sure what I experienced, but I'm sure glad Sam was with me that day, or else I might not have been around to tell the story.